I've been playing video games literally my entire life, and I've always wondered to myself, what actually makes like a great video game? One of those games that I've spent thousands of hours on. And after thinking about it, I've come up with a few ideas. And one of the biggest ones that I think is the learning curve in a video game. At least for me, if I pick up a video game and I almost completely understand it, I know exactly how to play it, and it doesn't feel like I need to learn anything, that video game immediately just becomes boring. Because when you're playing a video game, you want progression and you want a learning factor. You want to feel like you're learning something or feel like you have an advantage over someone else because you've played the game for longer and you have a higher understanding of that video game. So I think a learning curve is huge to making a great video game, and it doesn't even need to be like multiplayer based video games that only need learning. Like if you look at Elden Ring, if you're fighting the bosses, the first few bosses aren't very hard. If you're a brand new player, they're gonna take you, who knows, maybe 30-40 minutes still. But once you get to like the last boss and you get to the DLC and you get to like Radahn and bosses like that, then that's when you realize like, wow, these bosses are way harder than the ones early on, and I've learned so much. And because I've learned certain things, that's why I can actually take on these better bosses. So learning curve is a huge factor, I think, when it comes to making a great video game. And on like the learning curve, this kind of intertwines with it a little bit, but like progression based. And it doesn't need to be like you need to know how to do something in order to progress, but some sort of progression system where you're working your way towards achieving something. For example, I like playing Escape from Tarkov. There is a great progression system in that game that takes a long time because once you start out, you have crappy gear, you have crappy traders. But once you level yourself up and you level up your traders, then you unlock better stuff. And the better stuff you unlock, the easier time that you're gonna have inside that video game. So you need some sort of progression system, and this could, like in single player games, it could be again like bosses. Like maybe you want to fight a different boss and there needs to be a progression system where you fight cooler bosses, better bosses, bosses with better rewards, so you can level yourself up and feel like some sort of accomplishment. Because adding progression in a video game, it adds a sense of accomplishment and makes you want to come back, but the progression can be so slow that it feels like very tedious. I know that's kind of ironic because I like Tarkov, and for many people that game can feel tedious, but the progression has to be incremental, and it can't just be like a huge jump after playing like for 50 hours, because then that's also going to turn a lot of players away. So you need like incremental progression, but then in between those incremental progression systems, you need like big leaps. So maybe you're a little bit of progression here, you're seeing a little bit of progress, a little bit of better loot, and then you finally get to a cutscene where you fight a huge big boss, and then that's like a big jump in progression. You know what I mean? So you need smaller progression mixed with bigger progression. And then also with any game, you need like an interactive world. You know what I mean? Like your world that you've built in this video game, it can't feel bare. Because if I hop in a video game and it feels like there's nothing to explore, or it feels like there's nothing to fight, and I've been walking a long time and I've seen nothing interesting, that's going to turn a lot of players away. So you need to add like a very interactive world, and a world just filled with so many different things to look at and things to do that it feels like there's never really an end to the game in a way. You know what I mean? Like even if you build a world, let's say a world is 10 times bigger than a different world, if that smaller world has more interactive things, better design layouts, better maps, better POIs, you know, more things to do, that smaller map is gonna do a lot better than the bigger map, because nobody likes playing a video game where it's a huge map. The what do you call it? The developers say, hey, we have a huge map, it's gonna be 10 times the size of GTA, and you get all pumped up and you go play that video game and it's like, whoa, I've literally been walking for 20 minutes and I've seen nothing interesting. Like, why am I playing this game? So a bigger map doesn't always mean a better map. So you need to add like very interactive, fun little things to do, and you need to fill the world with everything like bad guys, places to loot, places to scavenge, things to look at, things to build, whatever niche your video game is in, you need to fill your entire world with that specific niche. And this next one doesn't apply to every single video game, but that's going to be music. Like when I play a single player game or a story game, like I need good music, dude, because it immerses you. Like you're walking around the world and you enter like a scary zone of the map and the music changes and it feels more eerie and it's very well composed. Dude, that makes the game so much better. But then again, like a game like Tarkov, for example, I have the music turned all the way down to 0 because music doesn't really play a factor in this game. So it depends on the kind of game. If it's like a single player, if it's a story, if it's kind of like a survival game, like you need great music for those types of games because it just adds to the immersion and just makes the game so much better. Like it's weird how much music can do to a game. And this last one is a bit harder to add to a game, but you need to have some sort of like unique factor in the game, you know what I mean? Like when Fortnite came out, like you have this factor of like building, and this wasn't so unique in the battle royale genre, but the battle royale genre was kind of closed off to like PUBG and those kind of games, and not many people knew what battle royale games were. So Fortnite capitalized on that and made a great game in the battle royale genre that was still unique to very many players. And then you have like this building feature, you have this looting feature, you have this fighting for number one feature. So you need some sort of like uniqueness to the game, and it's very hard to kind of come up with that. And I feel like when you're making a game, it just takes years and it kind of falls into place. Like with Tarkov, I keep going back to Tarkov, but it's very unique because it has that like hyper realism, dude. You know, like you can craft a gun with exact real life attachments, exact guns in real life, the same ammo type. Plus you're going into a world where you have to bring in your own loot, and if you die, you lose it forever. But if you make it out, you can steal someone else's loot, or you can find very valuable loot around the map. It has a very unique feeling to the game. And then another example of uniqueness, you have Valorant. It's very similar to CS in the factor that it's like the same kind of shooting mechanism. Like you can't be moving and shooting unless your bullets are going to go crazy, and you kind of have to strafe and stop and shoot. And then you can like jiggle peek and all that kind of stuff. That's very similar. But how Valorant made it so unique is adding these agents with special abilities, and you have special smokes, and you have flashes, and you have all this other stuff that isn't really the same as CSGO, but in a way it is the same, just a very different, unique kind of way they implement it into their game. Yeah, I'm sure there's many other things that make a great game, and I'm no video game developer. This is just for me playing video games for years and spending thousands of hours on certain games while only spending maybe 10 or 20 on a few other games. And that's kind of what I've realized that makes me want to come back to playing video games like for thousands of hours.